All right. So it
We're
looks like we're
live.
live. Hey, how you doing tonight, Clinton?
Oh, just ducky, just ducky. It's been a day, but I think it's all good. It's all
Okay.
good as they say, but do they really mean it when they say it? I do not know.
Yeah. Who knows?
All right, so we will
Oh,
just be doing
I'll grab my
your
notebook real quick. Hold on a second.
yep. Okay, so we'll
All right.
just you'll be reviewing the comic. I read through it. I didn't take really any notes because I was trying to do it in my spare time between other things to get ready for this.
Yeah.
But I did read through it, and I was going to do a video. I ran out of time, so I've got random pages from the book that probably won't relate to what we're talking about, but I can kind of cycle through some stuff as we're going through it.
All right.
And then um, we'll do the review of last year's stuff for predictions, and then we'll go into this year's. And so I've got Chuck's preloaded. And that should be so. We're not doing any news because we didn't do news last year because it was just too many things going on with the
Yeah.
predictions and so forth.
I didn't see any links in there, so I was like, well, I guess I'm not throwing any articles together. So
Yeah, no, I did. Like I said, we didn't do that last year, so I don't feel compelled to do it this year either because that's a lot to add.
yeah. All right. Well, I think I'm ready to get started if you are.
All right, so are we going to do the?
Unless
don't
you
remember.
want to wait for all the viewers to show up on the live
Yeah,
stream.
really. Are we doing the music at the beginning, or is that you're putting
Yeah.
that in?
I got it all set up.
Okay. All right. So let me get myself squared away for that then.
Make sure you can hear this yourself.
Didn't quite sound like the music, but I did hear it.
No, I did. The music's too long.
Okay.
All right.
All right. And yeah, and okay, so I'm gonna have that, and I've got that set there. Okay. Yeah, I'm. Hold on here. Yeah, I'm ready to go. Whenever you are, give me a countdown or anything.
Okay. All right. Wait a second. So you start recording. And 3, 2.
This is The Topic is Trek, episode 193 for Friday, December 19th, 2025. Coming up in this episode, a real page turner of a main mission. Ooh. Can we see the future? Ooh. Did we see the past? No. All that and more right now on The Topic is Trek. Our 8th annual prediction show. Welcome to The Topic is Trek, the podcast that runs on impulse power. Join us for a journey where no show has gone before. If it has to do with Star Trek, there's a good chance we'll talk about it. Sooner or later, because on this show, the topic is Trek. Engage already. Well, hello, and welcome everyone to another thrill-packed edition of The Topic is Trek. I am Clinton, one of your co-hosts. This is our last show of 2025. Boo-hoo, but if you're not, we'll be back in 2026. Just want to put that out there as well. And in order to be a co-host on the show, I have to have other hosts, or in this case, other host. Because first and only of all, beaming in to join us from parts unknown with the hip new catchphrase that you will be talking about all season long is Mr. Craig Stepp.
Ugh. Thank those Klingons for dropping me off. Hey, holy Nostradamus, Batman.
I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about it.
Oh,
Again, they're very
hey, I'm sorry. I
niche.
thought I was still on mute. You didn't say anything.
No, they're very niche. These ones you're coming up with lately. I'm not sure if they've got the broad appeal you think they might have. That's all I'm
Hmm.
saying.
Well, unfortunately, after 8 years, I'm running out of.
uh, Open up a dictionary, just pick some random words. It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Now,
Right.
our other co-host, Mr. Chuck Tomasi, has just returned from a mission out and about, so he will not be joining us this evening, but that does not mean he won't be here. You'll find out what I mean by that when we get to the predictions. But that's
He's gonna. I think he's gonna show up like Baylock's on-screen presence.
yeah, kind of like that. Yeah, kind of.
Right.
And so what we'll be doing in this episode is we'll be Craig is going to lead us through talking through a graphic novel collection. And then we're going to do our predictions. First off, we're going to cringe as we look at how we did in the 2025 predictions. And then we'll go on to make our predictions for 2026, which we'll cringe at 365 days from now. So that's how that works. All right.
All right.
So it's time to head out on our first main mission with an appropriate sound effect.
Warning, warp core breach a lot sooner than you think.
Uh-oh.
Wow, that's a thing.
That's right.
All
Well,
right. Since
go ahead.
since Craig is going to guide us through it, I think I can give the a little bit of the stats maybe on this for you, if that would help out on
Yeah,
it.
go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So we're talking about the graphic novel collection Star Trek Boldly Go, which is a compilation of Boldly Go issues 1 through 6, written by Mike Johnson and Ryan Parrott, artwork by Tony Shasteen and Chris Mooneyham, and colorist David Mastrolonardo and J.D. Metler, and a short plot synopsis from the back cover of the collection. After the destruction of their ship in Star Trek Beyond, the crew of the USS Enterprise have been reassigned to new ships with unseasoned crews and unfamiliar roles. The galaxy enjoys a fragile peace, but the discovery of new worlds, new species, new ships all lead to a new danger, unlike anything the Federation has encountered before. And resistance may be futile. Ooh, I think that's a foreshadowing right there.
That's a good catchphrase. I should have used that.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
All right.
Yeah, go ahead.
So
Were you
I'm going to turn the podium over to you, as it were.
All right. So this is the first volume out of 3 of them. So I think there was a total of 18 issues, and this has 6, and then of course the other one has 6 and 6. And it takes place right after Star Trek Beyond, as Clinton was just saying, when I think it's that time frame when they're having the little party at the end, and then they start showing the Enterprise being built.
Mhm.
And over the time of them building that Enterprise, I think that's where these stories take place. So
Yeah,
they're all kind of reassigned and pushed out.
it's kind of weird because they in the movie we get this time lapse, like they were just, you kind of have in your head they were just standing there watching it being built because they look out the window and it's like,
Yeah.
wow, they're really working fast.
Yeah, those guys are quick.
But yeah, so while the ship is actually being built in real time is when these
Mhm.
adventures take place.
That's right. And each of these episodes kind of focuses on one character from the movie. So the first one, well, okay, let me start off. So Kirk and McCoy are on the USS Endeavor, and Kirk is the captain, and he has a Romulan first officer. And then there is Spock and Uhura, who are enjoying a nice sabbatical on New Vulcan,
Mm-hmm.
which looks a lot like old Vulcan.
Yeah, the buildings are all built and everything.
Yeah, they really. It was in sped up time too, like the Enterprise.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And Sulu is the first officer on the USS Concord with the Captain Terrell, who
Yes.
we know from Khan, Wrath of Khan, rather. And
Right.
of course, Scotty is teaching at Starfleet, and that's where he's at.
Right. And we do see Chekhov who
Hmm.
is on the Endeavor, I believe, because I think because he's having a conversation with Kirk and McCoy in the galley. But we
Yes.
just see him in that one scene, and I feel like they were trying to strike this balance here. Well, we want to feature the character, but we don't want to push too much in that
Yeah.
area. So
And,
we'll
and you know, it
keep
could have
it.
been a thing. I mean, they could have swapped it out, but maybe they started drawing it before he passed away. I don't know, or started planning this. Who knows? I mean, that's
Possible,
probably a stretch,
possible.
but yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right, this is how. So I'll go down a little bit. I've actually got the comic up, so bear with me. I'm going to kind of flip through some of it because I don't have some great notes either, but I do know all the story beats. And it turns out at the beginning, the Endeavor starts picking up some unusual uh, uh, transmissions, and they're trying to figure out what it is. And of course, Kirk sends it over to her while she's on sabbatical. Thanks,
Right.
I'm on vacation, and you're sending me work.
So she has to excuse herself from a dinner where Sarek has created cooked some plummox soup for them, some very special plummox soup. And
Yeah,
is that all they eat on Vulcan is plummox soup? I swear that's
I don't
all
know.
the.
It must be damn good.
I guess so.
Yeah, and Sarek, he's a part. He's that's his hobby is cooking,
Mm.
as we've seen in canon, right?
Yeah, countless times if I had a dime for every time we've seen him do that.
I know. So they touch on being on New Vulcan, and of course, uh, her is supposed to be hanging out with the family and kind of distracted. And then we go back to Earth, and Scotty is doing a lecture talking about some of the things that they've come up against out in the space wilderness, so to speak.
And he kinda gets
And
schooled. He tries to get schooled by that cadet.
yeah, that little punk tries to call him out, and he has a good comeback and puts him in his place. So quick-witted Scotty. And then we see Sulu hanging out on the Concorde. He's talking to Captain Terrell, and they start getting they start receiving the same kind of messages, and they're not sure what to make of it, and they're trying to figure out as well. And of course, they see a new ship, and then we cut away. There's your Chekhov scene where they're Kirk and McCoy and Chekhov are having a drink in the galley.
It made me kind of sad a little bit, get to see Anton there, just
Mhm. Yeah, especially as these characters are all drawn in the images of the Kelvin verse character.
except was it just me, or I swear every character is drawn. Well, I've got an image up on the screen where you can see like the style of this comic, at least the first parts of
Mhm.
it.
Yeah,
Every character, including one specific to Star Trek Beyond, look like them except Uhura. The character is never drawn
yeah.
to look like Zoe Saldana. I couldn't figure out. Everyone else clearly looks like who they are.
Maybe it's in their contract. They can't,
I guess because there is. I wish I'd put this up in there. There's one panel where it looks like it's Rebecca Romaine, and I'm going,
yeah,
What? What?
yeah, yeah,
So weird."
yeah. I don't know why they did it like that, but even Zachary Quinto, it looks like this version of Spock, and same thing with Chris Pine, and even Scotty. Everybody, all looks that way. Of course, Captain Terrell does not look like the original Captain Terrell.
No, because he's playing this much younger than Paul Winfield. Obviously, would be
Yeah,
playing him later on in Star Trek Two.
yeah. So, so Kirk's first officer is deciphering, trying to understand what the signal that they're receiving is, and so that's when he sends it off to her, and she starts getting really distracted. And then they decide to, uh, they get a, uh, they go to find the Endeavor and see what's. I'm sorry, not the Endeavor, the Concorde, and see what's going on. and they go there and it's all destroyed, and it's in a mess. They do find some survivors. They beam them, some of the survivors aboard, and start helping them. And Sulu is like super distressed, and he can't. He's so exhausted, he doesn't even know how to really explain what's going on.
Right. So I think Captain Terrell told him to had them like evacuate the bridge or get to, a safe area while he
Yes.
stayed in command. And
Mhm.
so Sulu doesn't know what happened to him.
Yeah, I think Captain Terrell told him to get to the battle bridge, and he
Yeah.
did.
That's right.
And so,
Yes.
yeah, and so that's where they were at, and that's why there were survivors, because the battle bridge is a little more fortified than regular or other parts of the ship, I believe. Just a guess there. Anyway, so you get a little crosstalk about what's going on. They flip between what Uhura is talking to Spock about and what Sulu is trying to say, but they sedate him anyway. And it turns out it is the Borg. So I
Dun,
was
dun, dun.
when I saw this, I was kind of excited to see how are they going to present the Borg in the Kelvin verse.
Right. It's not like the
And
mirror universe where they'd be all like good guys or something.
yeah, they're good drones. No, so they come up and they start carving up the ship, and Sulu is talking about this, how they started carving the ship up with no problem, but they were kind of scavenging a little bit more, and that's one of the differences I noticed with the Borg. They were a little less focused on uh assimilation, and a little bit
Mm.
more on scavenging, which
Well,
that comes up a
also they
little
were
later.
yeah,
Huh?
they were also on a mission, right? I mean,
Mhm.
as opposed to usually when you kind of the Borg, their mission is just assimilate.
Yes.
That's all they're doing.
Yes. And which that comes up a little bit clearer why they're doing this a little later. And I don't know how I'm trying to avoid a little bit of spoilery. I don't know in case somebody wants to read,
Sure.
but at any rate, so everybody's going through the motions and trying to figure out what's going on, and naturally the crew starts coming together over these issues, and because Sulu's with Kirk and everybody now, and they get a distress call, and they go to this planet, and it's got a station on the planet, and there's the round Borg ship, and it's not perfectly round. If you look at it, it's more. I mean, it looks a little more craggly. That's why I was thinking it looked a little more like they were scavengers, a little bit more for
Right.
technology. Um, so then we find out that Terrell has actually been Borgified. He shows up and he starts throwing out the regular phrases
Terrell
like, "Hey,
never catches a break. Never catches
I
a
know
break.
it doesn't matter what universe we're talking about here, he never catches a break." So there's always something been put in his bodies. Either it's the earworms or Borg implants.
Mm.
So he shows up and he starts saying the normal Borg stuff, and everybody's trying to talk to him, but he's talking on behalf of the Borg, not necessarily, as himself.
Right.
Except for he identifies some people, so he's aware of what's going on. Skipping ahead a little bit, uh, they're trying. The ship goes away, and they're trying to track or maintain course with it and keep up with it, but it looks like they won't be able to, because I don't think their warp capacity is as good as the Borg ship.
Right. Well, the Borg ships go pretty darn fast. I mean, I know they've got the conduit, the tunnels, but I think just overall those ships go pretty fast.
Yeah, and probably goes a little faster than like the TOS era ships, because they went through the Kelvin turnip events, and everything's been a little more fortified and a little more high tech than their TOS counterparts.
Right, because at some point doesn't the Endeavor fire at the Borg ship and actually, without that much effort, blast a pretty big hole in it or something?
They damage it a little bit, but it doesn't
Yeah.
do a whole lot.
Okay.
And but Kirk pulls a familiar it's almost a trope now. I think it is, but to kind of defeat the Borg. But anyway, let me skip a little bit before we start getting to that. Um, they go. The Borg ship is attacking another city. They run over there to get to it, and it turns out that Spock realizes that the Borg are there because they are looking for the Narada. And the Narada, when it showed up, it was much more high tech than everything around. It was bigger, had a lot more capacity and capability. So the Borg were drawn to that, and that's why they're on this mission to come and look for it. But they're not. The Borg is not aware that it came from another timeline, so it's not like something that's, uh, we just readily have a bunch of ships like this
Right.
floating around. So they were drawn. Another reason the Kelvin first era, or the where Spock and everybody showed up, is really affecting the more of the timeline. It's almost like, how when they had Wrath of Khan, the next three shows or movies really kind of dealt with that a little bit,
Hmm.
each one. So that's what I felt like about this. So we're still dealing with the Narada.
And it was
So
interesting because there was when the Borg ship is headed to that outpost, not the first one, but the it was a Romulan outpost. I don't think
yes,
they hadn't gotten to, right. Parts of that was saying this sounds exactly like the book I was reading, Probe, where you've got this entity, which was a major, feature in Star Trek, for the voyage home, the Probe, heading off in a direction, and it was heading right past this Romulan planet, kind of just like an outpost. And so this
Mhm.
boy, that's sounding similar too, right there.
Yeah. Well, it's looking for Romulan technology because the Narada was Romulan.
Right.
So yeah, it destroyed that outpost. Then it goes to goes to Romulus and is trying to find. They're asking where can they find this ship, and obviously they can. It's been, thanks to Kirk, it's
Yep.
gone.
It's broken now, very
That's
broken
right.
and gone.
Yeah, broken and gone. Yeah, yeah. The Borg show up. Hey, make ship go.
Ship go fast. Oh, look,
Yeah,
Enterprise, not the Endeavor, Enterprise. Never mind.
yeah. Um. All right, so I'm kind of skipping ahead a little bit because there's a lot of detail in all these pages, and I don't need to go through every individual bit of it. But they beam over to the Borg ship, uh, Kirk and the crew, Spock and everybody, and they're going to try and save Terrell, and see if they can who else they can save, because
Mhm.
they haven't dealt with the Borg before. They really don't know what they can and can't do. So they
Right.
go over there and they start to save Terrell. Spock gets assimilated, and I was like, "Oh no, I didn't see that. I actually didn't see that coming." But
Neither did he. So
neither did. But if you think about it, earlier Spock was asking to go on the away mission. I was like, "Oh well, I guess now you can tell
yeah,
something's going to
and I'm
happen."
sure Uhura now is extremely happy about his deciding he just wants to volunteer to go just to check it out.
She's like, "Finally, I'm free of Spock."
No, that's not.
That's not what she said. No, she was not thrilled about that at all. Um, and Spock ends up using some of his past trauma, which is a lot of the scenes that you saw in the movies. Where
Mhm.
he's at school, his mom dying and things like that. He kind of uses that to keep himself from being totally assimilated, and kind of uses Vulcan mind to kind of to keep from fully being embraced by the Borg. Even
And
being
apparently a Vulcan as well is unlike other um humanoid
Mhm.
uh, characters, because everyone else had their clothes still on, but not Spock. For some reason, they had to take all his clothes off before they could try to Borgify him.
He's a nudist.
I guess.
I think you didn't see the part where Spock actually offered to take his clothes off, so make it easier. No, so yeah, there was a few scenes where he was ripping the Borg implants off his face and punching a Borg drone while naked. And I'm like, wow, this is a side of Spock I hadn't seen before.
He doesn't mess around.
No, he does not. There's even the scene where he's at the Vulcan Science Academy, and getting turned down, and he's all using all that to, how, like, what was that movie where they were saying sing your ABCs, so it keeps them from taking over your mind. What was that? Do you remember?
I don't know. Well, Crazy Joe is
Anyway.
here now. If somebody
Oh,
knows about a movie thing, so
yeah,
he'll work on that and get back to us.
that's good. All right. Anyway, so let's see. I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit. So there's Naked Spock. He is doing his thing. They gets me back over the Enterprise, and they destroy the Borg drone by beaming over some photon torpedoes.
Yeah, which kind of played that card before.
Yeah, even the with Into Darkness, where they beamed
Mhm.
over the that's exactly what happened. And of course Kirk goes, "Oh, it's a little something I learned from my crew." Chuckle, chuckle. So
Well, that's true
um
because McCoy and
yeah,
Spock and so forth came up with that plan in the other movie. So
that's right. True. All right. So then the next issue dealt with Jayla, and it
right,
showed how Jayla and her family were on a ship, and how it got attacked much like the Enterprise did in the movie, with all the bees were doing their thing, they're destroying the ship. They crash land. I think her mother was even I think early on. First off, her mother was sick and she died,
right.
and so she lost a parent. And then on the surface, she was with her father, and of course, we talked about that in the movie a little bit, um, where he got shot. Where what's his name? Idris Elba.
Yeah,
My
we'll
mind
just
went
go
blank.
we'll go with that. We'll go with that.
Yeah, where he killed Mantis. I'm sorry, Mantis shot her dad and killed him. Not Idris Elba, but you see his character in here too, and it kind of sets up where we see Jayla, and then eventually you kind of see what happened to Jayla after all this, after she got off the planet. And remember, they gave her I sort of say they gave her they got her access to be able to join Starfleet Academy, and you see there she actually did, and she's in uniform, like
What's
she's
interesting is that it's told in reverse. I
Mhm.
forget what is the phrase that they use at the top of the pages? Um, something like
Oh, before, after.
before, right? Well, it's all
Yeah.
before, right? So
Yes, it's
we
back.
see
Yeah,
here
you're right.
it
Mhm.
starts off with her finding the Franklin, which doesn't
Mhm.
have the tiny space between the K and the L, which I was there's a note there. Um,
Freyland. Freyland.
and right, because it's supposed to be it's named Franklin for Lynn's um Justin Lin's father. So in the movie, there's a extra bit of space between the K and the L in Franklin. So it's Franklin.
Mhm.
Um, so it starts there with her discovering the ship, and then we work backwards there up to her birth in space. So it's like the entire thing is told in reverse.
Yeah, which was kinda interesting, and I think it worked for the most part. It's I think you said didn't you say you don't like,
Y- Oh,
flashbacks after you see a few minutes and they go 10 weeks before,
yes,
or
like
something.
I bet you're wondering how I got here, you know? Type of
Yeah. That's right. I
Ugh.
bet you're yeah, so
It
it
did
wasn't
it did
quite
me
like that, but I was
no.
thinking Clinton's not gonna like this part.
No, I liked it because it used the entire it wasn't like you just did that for a second. You did that all the way through to
Mhm.
say, well, what led up to this and what led up to that and what led up to is, I think, is the movie Memento is like that, right? Where it's all basically told in reverse.
Oh yeah,
It's not the only
it's not
movie they've
even.
done
I
that.
don't think Memento is even in order when you saw it in the theater.
Right.
But you can
So,
see it. Hey, by the way, you can see it chronologically on the Blu-ray. I think.
what's the fun in that?
I know.
So you said, okay, you start off from what you know, right? You know that she finds the Franklin,
Mhm.
but it's kind of like, but how did she get to the
Yeah.
Franklin?
Right.
But how did she get to the planet? But, and it just, keeps going backwards with these
Mhm.
befores. And it
No,
made
I
me,
did. Yeah.
it made me, realize again that one of the bad things about the fact that we're not going to get any more Kelvin timeline movies is like, I really would have liked to have seen more of what happened to Jayla. And, we're seeing a little bit in the comic, but, it's like, because she can't be in anything because now she's in. I mean, I suppose theoretically you can come across that character in the prime timeline because should be there, but
Sure.
wouldn't be the same character. So,
Mhm. Yeah, and what I did like her character when they introduced her in the movie, especially as we move forward because she had a lot of personality with her with her beats and shouting.
yes.
But I did enjoy, her character. So, all right, so enough about her. So the next, issue, we see a little bit of follow-up about Sulu. He's talking about how you know, in the movies, his Sulu's husband and daughter were not with him. They were always nearby, like on a
Right.
space station and stuff. And Kirk's having a discussion with him, and turns out that her husband was trying to keep their daughter safe, but because of the things that happened at Yorktown, it doesn't really matter where they're at because no place is safe. So they
Yeah, pretty
decided
much.
to kind of stay together. So they talk about that for a little bit. Then you find out about Terrell, his recovery, and Sulu's talking about going back out and into space. And so they all go to do a little exploring, and they go to a white hole, not a
Right.
black hole, but a white hole.
That White
And
Castle.
yeah, White Castle.
Which I did do a bit of research in it, and it is a theoretical thing that there's such a thing as a white hole, which only nothing enters, everything escapes from it. So
Mhm.
it's really is the reverse of a black hole.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I've heard of them before, but I've never seen any. I don't think there's any evidence of. It's just theoretical, right?
Right.
Yeah. So they're investigating this white hole, and then basically there's a being on the ship that's trying to go back to the white hole, and there's a four-dimensional being. I'm trying to remember what it was, but it's causing havoc on the ship and can't get out of the ship because of the shields. So Scotty's, yeah, or not Scotty, who was Sulu was trying to convince everybody to lower the shields. Oh, we can't do that. Yes, you can. You need to, and to save the ship and let the being out. So I didn't like this part of the book as much as I liked the rest of it. Um,
It was
but
very much a standard Star Trek story, um,
mhm,
in what happens in it. And when they get to the point where um the alien reveals itself, it's like, oh, well, I know where this is going,
yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah. It wasn't as I don't think it was as good of an issue as the rest of the stuff was. So
And as near as I can tell, this last story,
mhm,
because um, there's a separate writer and artist listed for issue number 6, and clearly this last story is not in the same style as the other parts of the book. So I'm guessing that one of the reasons we have this disconnect there is because this is totally written by a different team. This last
that's
book.
right. Yeah, so the credits I had, I know you had them earlier, was Mike Johnson and Tony Sastine were doing the main credits, and the special credits on issue 6, which is the one you're talking about, was Ryan Parrott and Chris Mooneyham.
Right.
It is different. The art style doesn't really bother me, but it kind of feels out of place with the rest of the other 5 issues that were in this omnibus.
Yeah, because they have a look that I was trying to describe it to Bonnie, the look of the first 5 of them. I mean, they clearly are using, you can tell when they're drawing from or using the basis of a publicity still of one of the characters, because you've got a pose that you've seen before that's being drawn and the face looks really good.
Mhm.
And then when they don't have that image, the face is a little off, but it kind of looks like sort of like watercolor pen and ink crossing type of thing, where you've got
Yeah.
some mushy detail and some very sharp detail in it.
Yeah, a lot of,
And
like,
the
pencil or pen shading,
yeah,
and yeah, it looks more like sketches than it does, some of the other finished work.
yeah. So, but
So
it was interesting. Like I said, to me, the high point of the entire thing was, oh, look, there's more Jayla stuff. And I wish kind of that had gone on to, okay, well, what is she doing at the academy? And maybe that's in some of the other issues, well, I think, Craig, you're going to be continuing on with the different collections of this.
yes,
So
so there's 2 more that I've got. These all came, from the humble bundles. That's easy to say.
yeah,
The humble bundles.
the Hondo's Bumble. There we go. That's it. That's what it was.
That's exactly right. I bought, I forget how much I paid for it a while back, but they had like tons and tons of issues of Star Trek. But I'm gonna follow up and finish volume 2 and 3 of this omnibus and read them all. So
Okay.
yeah, I'll talk about them maybe, unless we have Starfleet Academy coming up.
Yeah, because our next episode will be the premiere, the 2-episode premiere of Starfleet Academy. So
Yeah. Let's say, are
when
they
that
doing 2
happens-
episodes? Like, yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. For some reason, they always do that, and it always drives me nuts, because it's like, you've only got 10 episodes. Draw it out a little.
I know. Only got 8 nights now. So anyway, to kind of by the way, at the end, the last several pages are alternate cover art and stuff like that. But there's some of those little things you used to cut out, and you
Yes,
could put like the clothing on the
like the paper
figures.
dolls things. Yeah. And half of them have a little tribble that you can cut out and just put with the
Yeah.
person.
That's right. A little tribble. At first I was like, what's down here? And I was trying to see how many pages I had left in the books. I went, what is this? And it's like, look, like you said, the paper doll cutouts, and you could put the uniforms on them, and the space diving suits and stuff like that.
And they had a couple of pages that were the black and white art. So just the inkers work before the colorist had come in. So it's just stark black and white images of several of the pages in the story.
I do like that from time to time, especially when you go to, like I go to Heroes Con in June. You can buy black and white art at some of the tables, some of the artists, and like this. And I always like doing that, or looking at them at least.
Okay.
I don't really buy a whole lot of art, but I probably should support some people a little bit better than I do. So, ultimately, you want to rate this? I don't know. You kind of read most of it. It sounds like.
I read through it. What would we rate it on? What scale would we use for this?
Borgs. I don't know.
Borgs. Sure.
Yeah,
We'll go with Borgs.
I mean, that's
I would
simple.
rate it, let's see. I hadn't thought about this before. I think I would rate it like a 7.5. I feel like the last story being so predictable, whereas the first story had a lot of twists and turns in it. Even up to the very ending, which has like a surprise thing that happens that we're not going to spoil for you. I think that story was really strong, and the Jayla story, well, it's Jayla's story, so I'm going to go, yeah, let's more of that, please.
Mhm.
But the last story kind of brought it down to I'm 7.5.
Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat, 7.5. I actually enjoyed the Borg part. At first, my first reaction was like, ah, Borg. And then I thought, wait a minute, it could be interesting to see how the Kelvin verse deals with the Borg, although they encounter them a lot earlier in their time than the prime timeline.
Right.
And I thought it was pretty good. Overall, I really enjoyed it. So I'm gonna give it a 7.5. I thought that last story was a little weak, like you said, predictable. So
Okay. Well, it's time to
and I
come
did,
back.
and I printed out all the paper dolls and I played with them for a little while.
I hope you printed out enough to share with everybody.
Yeah, I should 3D print it actually.
All right. So
was
it's
great.
time to come back from our first main mission with an appropriate sound effect. If we've got some here
Oh.
on the board.
Here we go.
Sure. And we're going to go immediately out on our second main mission, just as we've done in years past. We're going to skip news this time around because we have some self-shaming or self-regret that's coming up, and there's no sense waiting any longer because it's time to head out on our second main mission with an appropriate sound effect.
Let's go with
Warning. Warp
do it
core
again.
breach a lot sooner than you think.
Yeah.
which is
yeah.
appropriate. It's a lot
Indeed.
sooner than you think. I don't know where that came from. I saw that in our folder. Yeah.
All right. So the first thing we're going to do, rather than we don't start with the predictions for next year, we see how did we do on our predictions last year for 2025. So the
Right.
first part of this is going to be, let's take a look at that stuff. We'll start with Chuck stuff since he's not here. How about that?
Okay. Yeah, that
And
sounds
so-
great.
Yeah. So, Greg, you can be, help me figure out, because sometimes we find that the wording that we give is vague, but we don't realize
Sure.
it's vague until the thing has actually happened. And we go, well, does that fit with that or does that not fit with that? So let's see. We start. So Chuck's first was Strange New Worlds will be extended through 7 seasons. I don't think we need to go on that one. That one
Oh.
definitely is a no.
I should have had a buzzer on here.
Yes. Well, do you have the
Wait a
sad
minute.
trombone?
There you go. Wait, stop. Wait, stop.
That's not a sad trombone. That's raise the roof horn anyway, air horn.
Yeah.
All right. There we go. There we go. All right. Let's move on to the second one.
All right.
Chuck's second was we will get 1 or 2 more seasons of Star Trek Prodigy. Ooh. And a lot of these were
Unfortunately.
I remember struggling last year because it was hard to get a read on where things were going to go because remember Paramount was in a lot of turmoil at
You were in
so we're
dire
trying to
straits there for a little while.
yeah, so
Yeah,
we were
I didn't even know if Paramount was going to be around.
yeah, a lot of this was like wishful thinking, I think,
Mhm.
for some of this stuff. But all right, let's move on to the third, and that is we will get some finality on the Kelvin timeline / Star Trek 4 movie, whether
Uh-huh.
it is happening or not.
Okay.
And I think we give that as a win
Yes, he got that one.
because the answer is not.
Right.
All right. To the next one, he had said Strange New Worlds will somehow make mention of Kittimer. I do not believe that happened.
Yet.
do not
Not this
believe that
year.
happened.
Yeah.
Well, no, but he's saying this was going to happen in 2025 when season 3 was on.
True.
And it's okay. And the last one is the Paramount merger / takeover will be resolved. And that is a win.
Yeah, it looks like it did.
All right. So out of 5, Chuck got 2 correct, which believe
Yes.
me, for, some years that is like, wow, we're between all of us, it's like, okay, that's at least somebody got something right.
Right.
All right. I'll take the next hit.
All right.
This is one. No, it's not a win. Never mind. The Section 31 movie will set up some stories from the logs of Enterprise C. And my reasoning for that was, well, we get to see Garrett there. And so we're going to, maybe that will kind of lead into something. And no,
Right.
nothing from that. So nope. That is a loss.
I was kind of, I was, I remember you saying this, and I remember thinking, I was looking forward to something like that. I was hoping that we would find out a little bit more about what happened to Enterprise C when it came back. We know they've told us a little
Yeah.
bit, but
And
that was
Garrett
from-
couldn't tell you that stuff in this story here because that's
no,
none of
that's
that-
true. She was a baby,
Yes.
well, young.
All right. My second prediction was we are going to get casting news on the so-called Star Trek Origins of the Federation series. Movie, not series, movie. And that is not the movie that we're talking about. That is currently the one that is, even though we didn't get casting on that either. But this was one of the, in last episode, we went through the long explanation of all the failed efforts so far. But this was sort of an active one at that time, the Origins of the Federation, but it fell through and there was no casting on that.
There's no casting, but it's still kind of active, isn't it? Or not? This is not the one they just announced.
And it is not the one they just announced. No.
No, but it's. I think that the one you're talking about is still pseudo in the works. I mean, I haven't heard a lot
It's
about
the
it.
one that I think this is the one where I kept going, who is this person that's writing this thing? I've never heard of them. And they just randomly make these comments. It's like, oh, it's like this. It's like the little gopher that pokes its head up and says, hey, I'm working on something over here. And then gone again.
Right.
So I don't know what's going on. So that's a loss for me there. All right. Another loss coming up. Again, wish fulfillment thing. We will get word that the Star Trek workplace comedy that Tawny Newsome and Justin Simeon are developing will be greenlit. No, the last we heard, Tawny and Justin were still working on it. They hadn't been told, stop working on that. It's done.
Well, they kind of gave it some light at San Diego Comic-Con, didn't they?
Yes.
I mean, they had.
They were talking, and Star Trek Las Vegas.
Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe
they were
that's what it
talking
was.
about that.
Yeah, they talked it
So-
up a little bit. So
Yeah, I mean, it's still in the planning stages. Now, again, people have to remember that for everything you see on streaming or on television or in a movie, and probably a lot of stuff in video that's, that fans are doing, a lot of it just never happens. It gets planned, it gets kicked around, and then it falls through. So the fact that it's Tawny and Justin gives it some weight, but the studio is going to look at it and either they're going to like it or they're not. And so
Right.
we will see what happens with it. But right now it's still in limbo.
I'm really curious to see it at some point because I want to see how they try and pull it off. What they do to make it work, or at least try to make it work. So I'm curious more than anything.
Okay. The next one, my prediction number 4, the thing I almost added would have given me a win on this one. So I'm just putting in parentheses after my prediction was there will still be no word on another Kelvin timeline movie.
Well,
And
there
what I
was
put
word.
well, yeah, but what I put in was almost added, and we can consider it dead. But I didn't actually put that in the prediction. I said last year that, I was thinking about putting this in, but no, I'm just going to say we're not getting any word.
Well, there was word, and and you're right, it's dead.
Yeah. So I'm going to give myself a loss on that one. Wah, wah.
It's unfortunate
right.
because I think they dropped the ball marketing that last film, which I enjoyed. I thought it was good.
Yeah. Yeah. I me too. I would be happy to see another one, but nope.
Yeah.
All right. This one I'm considering a win. Season 3 of Strange New Worlds will be a bit of a letdown compared to the tremendous stretch episodes of season 2.
All right, I'm gonna give you this one because season 3 was weaker than season 2, so I think you're on spot.
Yeah, there were no Subspace Rhapsodies or those old scientist episodes in season.
Hey,
3.
we didn't even get Cybok, which they promised.
Well, they showed the back of
Yeah.
his head. They didn't necessarily promise you were gonna see him,
Well,
but
they kind of, I felt like they set it up.
they definitely set it up, but we'll see. And my last one, again, this was all wish fulfillment on my part, I think last year.
Yeah.
Star Trek Prodigy will be renewed for one more season, season 3 that is, on Netflix with a reduced budget and only 10 episodes. So I didn't feel like Netflix was going to commit strongly to it, but I felt like they would do a little bit more. But they decided we're not doing any more. And matter of fact, come December 31st, we're not even going to have it anymore. It's going to be off the service. So yeah, lots of wishing on my part that only came true. And the one that came true was the one that was like, yeah, this one's going to suck more than the other one did. So
Right.
great. All right, Craig, let's see how you did.
Oh, great. Here we go.
All right, we will get an announcement of Lower Decks characters showing up somewhere else.
Hmm.
Might have been at a mall opening or something, but other than that,
They were open in a mall with Spider-Man. Actually,
mm,
I was looking forward. The reason I was thinking about this was because they had mentioned that even Mike McMahon said there's potential that they could show up somewhere else. And I kept thinking, that's right, because we had the crossover, which was well received. And then everybody kept talking about how they wanted to continue on with their characters. And I was thinking, sounds like they're not not backdoor isn't the right word, but kind of setting it up a little bit. And that's why I thought that.
mm. I got some comments here from Crazy Joe about other than Four and a Half Vulcans, I really like season 3. Four and a Half Vulcans was just dumb, but he does point out something I'll agree with. That said, I did like Patton Oswalt in it. Well,
Yeah. Oh, I think yeah. For what that episode was, I think Patton Oswalt did a great job. And there was some funny stuff, but you're right. It was a strong episode.
mm.
I have to go
All
back
right.
and look at we'll have to go back and look at our rating. I don't think we scored it very high.
We did no, I don't think we did either. Let's see. The second one you have is we will get an announcement of another streaming only movie similar to Section 31.
Nope.
No. Matter of fact, I think even before the change of ownership, the performance of Section 31 pretty much killed the concept of doing another one.
Yeah.
But when Skydance took over, they said, no, we're going to concentrate on movies in
Yeah.
theaters or on the streaming services with, no more streaming movies. So, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, well.
All right. Third one, Otoy, who are the people that made that Unification short film that has the coda with Kirk and Spock.
Yes.
Will participate in a larger Star Trek project, and we will see some legacy characters. And you're going, well, maybe in Star Trek Legacy, perhaps.
Mhm.
So that did not happen. I went and I checked Otoy's YouTube page just to see if there's any kind of update of anything from
Yeah.
them. Hasn't been anything from them in a while, Trek related. They did have some stuff around interview things and behind the scenes stuff around the time of Star Trek Day back in September.
Well,
But other
I
than
thought that short
nothing.
film was so good, and they put in a lot of effort to make it look convincing and right, that I thought there's no way they're doing all this work just for a little YouTube short. There's got to be something more. I mean, of course, if you look at their site, you can look at every ship that was ever, I start to say made, designed in the Star Trek universe, which is cool in itself. But I was like, they put so much work into this with Roddenberry and everything that they were going to do something else with it. But how do we know how well it performed? Well, I don't think it got great ratings to begin with.
Right.
Um,
It spiked a bit at one point after it had premiered. There was this very short time where the numbers went up on it, but overall it was viewed to be by Paramount as, yeah, this underperformed.
Yeah.
Now, I know sometimes when Paramount says something underperforms, Star Trek the Motion Picture, it's bookkeeping.
Mhm.
But in this case, I think this was really just a numbers of, eyeballs and minutes watching, which is really what you
Well,
want to have online.
also the weird thing about it, and I think in Star Trek as a whole, as at least in the modern era, the last since Discovery, is I don't think it's gotten a lot of the exposure that it should have because it's behind a paywall. Because
Mhm.
traditionally you used to be able to turn on regular TV and just watch Star Trek, and it's there, and it doesn't cost anything. There's no paywall, there's no subscription. You just watch it, and now it is. So you got to be privileged enough to be able to afford a subscription to watch it. And I don't think
But
everybody
on,
knows that.
but on the other hand, that's what you want. You want to have something that's exclusive to your streaming service, so you get people to pay to get
Right,
your service.
right. I'm
So,
saying there's two sides of that coin. You need to make money, so you put it on your service that's exclusive to it, but you don't get the exposure because it's not out in the wild. I mean, just a little while ago, I just turned on Pluto and was watching episode of TNG, and I was, it's hard to do with Discovery and Strange New World. I think a lot more people would love Strange New Worlds if they got a chance to see it.
oh, I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
But we're not in charge because we couldn't pony up the money for buying Paramount. All right.
We
Your
should have done a GoFundMe.
yeah, really. that would have yeah, no. Your fourth prediction was we will get word that the Star Trek workplace comedy that Tawny Newsome and Justin
Oh,
Simeon are developing will be greenlit. So
go ahead
again,
and
we were
scratch it out.
really hoping on that one. We were really
Yeah.
all right. Now, this one I'm going to give you because believe me, it stretched into there will still be Paramount shuffling and turmoil in 2025. I can attest to the fact that that is true.
Yes.
So I'm
Although
giving you that one.
it seems like it turned out for the better at the moment, but who knows?
Yeah, I think we have to see, I don't know what all our predictions are for stuff coming up, but we have to see where Paramount really is going to land in this. I mean, I know they want to get the movie going, so they've assigned the people to be working on getting that done. But if that's their sole focus, we're going to go back to those lean years where it's a movie every couple of years and there's like nothing new on the streaming service, which doesn't seem to make any sense. Okay, you put it maybe you make a movie, you put it in theaters, you have a very short window, then you put it exclusively on Paramount Plus. Okay, you're going to get a little bump from that, but I don't think you're going to get as much of a bump as you are from a series.
Yep.
And I think
Yeah.
you'll lose people that signed up for Paramount Plus because they wanted to watch Star Trek and, you not providing any new content for them. So we'll have to see what happens there. All right. And your last prediction was one of the episodes of season 3 of Strange New Worlds will be animated.
Ugh.
So there's that.
Actually, I think it's pretty easy to understand why I thought that because remember at the end of the crossover,
mhm.
they animated the whole crew, for that little end cap on this episode, and I thought, oh man, they're going to do a whole episode because they kept talking about, oh, we're going to take some big swings. That would be a big swing, but oh well.
Yeah. Well, we will see. We will see. All right. So
Hey,
those
hey,
are.
look, I got one just like you did.
I got one. You got one. Chuck got 2.
All right.
So I don't know
He
what the
gets the
percentage was.
Nostradamus Award.
Yes, when we totally heads up, I don't know how that percentages work. Well, for him, it's 40%. For when it's 6, math is hard.
Yeah.
Whatever. All right, let's move on to the second part here, which is looking into the future. Our 2026 predictions. So I will start off, and no, let's do Chuck first. As I said, Chuck is not here with us, but actually, that doesn't mean he's not going to be here for the show, because he knows that this is our annual prediction show, and you got predictions. You gotta put out those
And
predictions.
his heart is so big, he's always with us.
Yes. So I'm going to turn things over to Chuck for his first prediction.
Sorry, I couldn't be on this episode where we're making all our predictions. I hope I won with last year's predictions.
No.
I don't know if I did. Probably got like 1.5 points like I usually do. So here are my predictions for 2026 in the Star Trek universe. First one is the 3-armed bartender we saw in Strange New Worlds, the Adosian bartender. I believe we are going to see that become more of a regular character, much like Guinan was on Next Generation. I don't know if they'll have as much of a presence in major episodes, but when they go to the bar, we will see that character. She was introduced, and we saw Pike and Number One make a comment like, "Hey, she'd be really handy on board the ship. I wonder if she'd be willing to come along." And that's all we heard. That was it. I'm like, there's got to be more to it. I think the fans want that, and we will see that. So that's my first one. Discuss.
I'm all for it, and I think even when the character showed up in that episode of Strange New Worlds, we were all excited, going, "Oh, look, it's not Eric's, obviously." Well, I don't know. The bartender didn't give their name, so I suppose in
Maybe
theory,
they gender swapped because it wasn't a female.
yeah,
Okay,
but
female.
of course, she couldn't immediately take over being at the on the bridge, so it probably is just another Adosian. But
Hey, wasn't before Strange New World started? Wasn't one of my predictions that we're going to see Eric's? That'd be
yes,
funny if it shows up finally. I'm just a few years late, but I got my prediction in.
all right, I'm going to go with my first prediction, and then we'll get to yours, Craig. My first prediction is people will continue to forget/deny Star Trek Scouts is a thing, and it will not survive 2026.
Really?
How many
Okay.
times since its premiere, how many times have you thought about the fact that there is a Star Trek show that comes out on a fairly regular basis on YouTube with new episodes? Yeah, 0, right?
Well, I did. That's not entirely true. I did subscribe to the channel, so I would
Mhm.
catch. Of course, I see other things in there too, and I'm like,
Right.
not really watching all the other crap. But like the monster truck or whatever the thing
Yeah.
is.
Yep.
But I've seen most of the Star Trek Scouts, and it's okay. I mean, you can tell. Obviously, I'm not the audience for it, even as childish as I act sometimes. But it's okay. I mean,
I just feel like it'll run through. I think the run was for 20 episodes, if I recall correctly.
yeah,
I think
something.
that'll be it. I just have this
All right.
feeling that will be it for it. So it should be done by the end of the year. All right. What is your first prediction, Craig?
Okay, so my first prediction. Wait, let me do the.
I will wait.
My first prediction is there will be an announcement of Star Trek. Let's call it year 1 with Wesley's Kirk.
Oh, okay. So that one that Goldsman and Alonzo Myers are pitching
Yes.
to produce. Okay.
I think that everything, unless they destroyed the sets already, the sets are still there. The actors aren't that far off from when they were already working on it anyway. Ethan Peck is a great Spock, and I think Paul Wesley can be even better Kirk, given some more consistent screen time when he's not on his other ship.
Yeah, really. When he's not on the Farragut, that one
Farragut.
day of the year he's on the Farragut.
Yeah. Hey, I can see his captain. Well, nice of you to show up. Yeah.
And you are.
Yeah. I'm sorry, my badge quit working. I can't get on the bridge. So I think they're going to do the Star Trek Year 1, or whatever it's called. I'm not going to get too detailed on the name, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yep. I think that's what they pitched it as, is the name of Star Trek Year 1, if I recall.
Yeah, that's why I wrote it down. I think that's what it was.
Okay. my second prediction is we will get at least one unannounced cameo from Discovery on Starfleet Academy. So we know the people that are going to be there that have crossed over. We've got Jet, we've got Vance, and we've got Tilly, but I think someone else is going to show up. I'm not saying they're going to have a recurring role. I just figure somebody will show up at some point and run. Oh, look, hey, Jet, how's it going? I mean, it'd be great if it was Paul Stamets showing up and going, "Oh, you're here at the Academy," and just kind of grumpy about it or something.
Yeah. Look what I was assigned to.
So that is my second prediction. All right. Let's see what Chuck has for his second prediction.
The success of Star Trek Con, we will get at least one, possibly more announcements. I know these can't be scripted and created to that level. That one took years to do. Star Trek Con took a long time to produce, but some of that was in the approach and the vision changing a little bit, as I understand it anyway. So now that they know, hey, this is doable and the fans liked it, I think we'll see more. So that's number 2. Discuss.
All right. We will discuss.
Don't tell me what to do, dummy Chuck. Actually, I was hoping really hard that they were going to do some more, and they could be working on it now, even though he said, Chuck said they've been worked on it for a long time. Maybe they're already working.
Yeah, I mean, he was talking about the fact that first, the reason Nicholas Meyer did it to begin with is because I think Kurtzman was the one that kind of was encouraging him to at least do a treatment of something for this thing, and it's just never happened. And so then it got turned into the radio drama type of thing. So yeah, it's a long period of development, a lot of which was designed around it being for streaming with visuals as opposed to streaming with just voices in it. The question I have, though, is that Star Trek Con was free everywhere and very little advertising in it. So would they do it the same way again? It almost seemed like that one started, because remember, it premiered on Star Trek Day. It's almost like, here is our gift to you for the 59th anniversary. If they did another one, I'm not convinced they wouldn't do something like put it on Audible. I don't know. What do you think?
I think I need to go look at the views they had on like YouTube, but it was available everywhere. I think it was available on Spotify and
Spotify, and
I subscribed to it on Pocket Cast. So I don't know. Then it depends on what they were getting paid for the embedded ads. I didn't mind the ads. I didn't care. So they can put them in there as long as I'm getting a good story around it. Didn't really bother me. Ads sometimes really bother people. Now going to a web page or something, it bothers me. But
there weren't a lot of ads, though. I think part of that is that half the time. Well, I know that they had an ad for Paramount Plus pretty much every single episode, which is not surprising.
That's a given.
But I think at the most they had 3 breaks, and maybe they had 2 30-second spots in them, a lot of which were host read by Marla MacGyver, which was really weird. So it wasn't like, I don't know how much revenue you were generating off of that. And this was a full production when you had name talent and you had an original score, all this stuff. You were doing it on both coasts. You were trying to coordinate between, recordings in Los Angeles and recordings in New York and all this stuff. It was, I'm sure that cost a pretty penny, even though there's no use of money in the future. But right now, it would cost a lot to do it. So I'm not saying they won't do another one. I'm just wondering if they do another one, will they do it the same way?
Mm-hmm. I'd be down for, well, look, they weren't going to do it if it didn't they didn't make something off of it, so or cover their costs.
Right.
I assume they don't still do it for, pro bono.
No.
So I think if they can pull if they made some money and got impressions and stuff that they wanted, I think and they want to do it again, I'm down for it. I'd love to hear Rainn Wilson do Mud,
Mm,
a Mud episode or series rather. Could be
okay.
cool. Something like that. It'd have to be compelling. And not just I'm not talking about just Mud, but it had to be a compelling story for you to
Yeah.
go, well, let's see how this fits into things.
All right.
Con worked out for the most part.
Yeah. And my third prediction is that season 4 of Strange New Worlds will introduce the Sulu character. So we will see
Oh.
season 4 this coming year, and we should, because we've got to get Sulu on the ship for, Kirk's first day. Well, I guess technically we don't, but he's in the second pilot. So I'm going to say you're trying to get all those people there. So
Well, the first pilot isn't really canon, except
Well,
for when they recut it.
yeah, it's in canon and retro, like in all the flashbacks, which is essentially almost virtually the entire episode.
Yeah.
So he's not on the, number 1 is at helm in the cage.
Right.
But so I just feel like you don't want to jam too many things into the last 6 episodes in season 5. Now, granted, they didn't know when they were writing season 4 that they're only going to get 6 episodes of season 5, but they've been pretty good spacing stuff out. And I feel like it doesn't have to be early. It can be very late, like Scotty was in, coming at the end of season 2. So I just feel like he's going to be in this next season.
Yeah. I could see that. A botanist.
Yes.
I could totally see him showing up, and especially in this season. There may be one other character because I think they gotta not necessarily accelerate to the beginning of what TOS era would be, but they're gonna. I think they're gonna at least add a couple more people.
Right, because the idea is that the last scene of season 5 is Kirk's first day in command of the Enterprise. So you could still have more of Pike's crew there. I mean, Mitchell could still be at Nav, I suppose. But I just have a feeling you'd want to have as many of your recurring characters as possible by that point.
Yep.
All right. And what is your third?
Number 2. We're on number 2.
We are. I thought we were on 3.
Yeah, you played Chuck second. You did a second.
Okay. Then I just read my. I just read my third one there, so I'm confused.
Okay. All
I'm
right.
losing track because I'm playing with all sorts of things. But go ahead.
All right. I feel like the new movie that they announced, although we don't know much about it, with a whole new crew and not connected to anything, I feel like it's going to be a hard sell.
Explain more.
Like, it's I'm scared it's not going to perform well enough for them to want to continue doing more theatrical movies and may end up with a Star Trek break. So that's why I feel like it's going to be a hard sell to the public, but we'll see. Maybe I'll be surprised. It's not like these guys are, fresh kids. They've been around the block, so they made some pretty compelling movies already. So maybe this will be great.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's face it. There's always that chance. I mean, you don't go out and just say, "Oh, we need a hit," and this is going to be a hit. So,
yeah, no,
yeah. It'd be nice if that's the way it worked, but it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
All right, then let's go to Chuck's third one here, and I guess we'll skip over me because I already did my third one. I'm so confused, but all right. So, Chuck, back to you.
Number 3 is going to be a little bit of a downer. I don't think we're going to get any new announcements on new shows. We will obviously continue to produce Starfleet Academy. That's already been announced that they're getting to see. So that's not a prediction. The prediction is they're not going to say, oh, we've got this idea and this idea and this idea. Based on the change of leadership and ownership that we've already seen, it sounds like these are going to quiet down a little bit and maybe take a different direction. So I don't think we're going to get any new TV series announced in 2026. Have fun with that one.
I think sadly he's probably true on that one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that idea. And we know that there are no shortage of pitches out there for Star Trek things. We've talked about.
Yeah.
We don't even know all the ones that are being pitched. We just know we've talked about, the Scott Bakula one for Archer. We just in this episode, we're also talking about the one for Tawny. We talk about Star Trek Legacy. All these things are out there, and probably a dozen more that are just being shipped to Skydance Paramount.
And technically, we already got a lineup for a lot of Star Trek coming up because we got 2 seasons of Academy and 2 more seasons of Strange New Worlds. So, I mean, that's a lot to play for a while. So, maybe not.
Yeah, I mean this year we will get 20 episodes of Trek, because we'll get the 10 episodes of Starfleet Academy, and then I'm assuming rather late in the year we will also get the 10 episodes of season 4 of Strange New Worlds. So while they don't have to announce it, the thing is that first of all, to your point about announcing Star Trek Day 1 and the sets. Now, if you notice on the Instagram feeds of the actors, they're wrapping up. I think it was Christina Chong's last day was within the last week or so. And one by one, people are finishing up their final scenes. And the problem at that point is the set. Because usually, if there's nothing in particular that needs to be done with that set, it's not stored, it's struck. It's torn apart because they don't have the room to store it.
And those pesky steel things. They're going to steal things off the set. Hey, where are all the buttons? Anyway.
Yeah. So they really have to make that decision now. Now, they don't have to tell us.
You're right.
If they've said, yes, we're going to be doing it, because it could be a while before any momentum happens on that. You'd have to build the writer's room. You'd have to do, all the things to get the thing going. But they would have to make that commitment that they are going to save those sets and not strike them.
Mm-hmm.
And so if there's any eyes, up in Toronto, they'll know and let people know pretty damn quick if they see the hammers coming in on the sets.
Yeah,
that'll be the sign that nope, no Star Trek Year 1.
It'd be like one of those rage rooms where you go in with a sledgehammer and you destroy stuff.
Yeah, there's a printer over in the corner in case you want to.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna skip over me for number 3 because apparently I already did mine.
What was your number 2?
Well, my number 2 was the cameo from somebody from Discovery on Starfleet Academy.
Oh.
And then 3 was the season 4 Strange New Worlds.
Oh, wait. You would have been on 3 because you started first. So that makes sense.
Well, but we just did Chuck's 3, so let's get your number 3 out of the way.
All right. We got a hint of it in the last season of Strange New Worlds. I believe we're going to see an episode where the Doctor will appear in the Star Trek universe.
Yes. I'll say that's an interesting prediction. And the thing I don't know these days is, and again, I kind of almost, turn to Crazy Joe in the audience here. Is Disney still producing Doctor Who? I thought they were done with Doctor Who, and
Yeah, they're
is
kind
the
of done.
BBC
They're
still
done with it.
going? Is the BBC still going ahead with another season, or do we
Yes,
know that or not know that? Oh, they are. Okay.
I think from what I understand, they are moving
Okay.
forward, but they're not. But Disney's not involved anymore.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I thought that. So, all right. So as long as the BBC is still doing it, um, I can see that is a possibility because yeah, I mean, they've danced around each other like crazy all these years. Crazy Joe says the BBC said they will be another season, but they've been pretty vague.
Right.
Hmm. Okay, and the next time we will see the Doctor will be next year in the Christmas special. Oh my goodness. Okay. All right. That's
But
interesting.
I still think that he might show up because they've dropped a lot of hints about that. I think there's been some discussion. So
Yeah, I
could
mean
be.
they straight up had Pelia mention the Doctor
Yeah. Right.
this last
That's
season.
right.
So,
And we saw the TARDIS.
and we did see the TARDIS,
Barely.
and they've crossed over in the comics before. So
Mhm.
definitely. All right, so now we're on to number 4. All our ducks are in a row, and I'm going to start off with Chuck with his number 4. All right, so let's go here.
Number 4 is I believe we will lose William Shatner in 2026. I don't like making this prediction, but reality is reality is. I know it's the 60th anniversary and all, and he's got a number of appearances to make. I think before December 31st, 2026, he will, I don't know, transport to the great beyond. He is getting up there in age. I think we've been very lucky to have him. If this is a win-win actually, because if I'm wrong, everybody wins. If I'm right, well, I get a point. So I don't know if that's considered winning, but I think we've been very lucky to have him this long. But I don't know. I'm going to play that black ace of spades and see what happens. I hope I'm wrong. But that one you can discuss.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You know what? By the way, I think I like this Chuck better than the one I do my podcast with.
Well, I'll work on rental fees for that then.
Robo Chuck.
I obviously knew that this was going to be Chuck's prediction because I put together the puppet Chucks for this, but
Yeah.
I don't know what to say about that. It's like I other than I hope he's wrong, and Bonnie and I have a saying that my wife Bonnie and I have a saying that he's going to outlive all of us. So I don't know. Dick Van Dyke just turned 100. Who knows?
Yeah, good for him, by the way. Yeah, I wish I had as much energy as Dick Van Dyke when I get to his age. Wow, half that energy, would be in good shape. You know what? I don't like predicting people's deaths either, but he's up there, and it could happen. And so that's a safe one, so to speak.
So we'll see in a year, and hopefully he's wrong. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's wrong about that one.
Yes,
all right.
I agree with that.
Let's go with my number 4. And I read this myself and I said, I'm confused by what I'm predicting here. Isn't that? Oh, I know what I'm doing. All right. So I'm saying the latest attempt at a Star Trek movie will finally catch. Like, okay, great that they announced this director and writer team of the, that did the Lego movie and other stuff, but they've done that before. And I'm saying, again, possibly wish fulfillment, but I think this time it will finally catch and we will get casting announcements by the end of the year. So that's a lot. That's going a bit further by saying we're going to get to that point, but I don't think with Paramount's aggressive release schedule, they want to be releasing 15 movies in theaters a year, which is like way up from what they've been doing.
Yeah.
I think they want to fast track things. So I'm thinking we might get at least, a little bit of casting news by the end of the year.
All right.
All right. And what do you have for number 4, Craig?
I know I'm leaning a bunch on announce this and announce that kind of stuff, but I feel like a Star Trek Enterprise follow-up series is coming up. Like what were they calling it with Scott Bakula?
Star Trek United, right?
Yes, I think that's right. So I have a feeling that's coming up.
Okay. Well, it's, like I said, it's in the mix. It's in the mix. All right. So those are our predictions number 4. Let's move on to number 5. And we go back to Mr. Chuck Tomasi.
One, I will. It's Christmas season, and I can make wishes. I think we've hinted at this long enough, and it's time to make it official in some way, shape, or form. There's been hints, of course, of a crossover between Star Trek and Doctor Who. We've seen the TARDIS in background images, really tiny. There's been this hint at it. And I've heard rumors, nothing confirmed, heard rumors that the Star Trek people are in contact with the BBC people. I think something is going to happen. I don't know what that would look like. I think we will see a crossover. We've had crossovers in Strange New Worlds before. I don't know if it'll be in that or if we will. Yeah, that seems like the right place to put it, in my opinion. I know seasons 4 already done with production. Whether it's in season 4 or 5, I don't know, but we're going to get it. Hey, and 4 will obviously come out this year. And then season 5, 2027. So I'm not real clear on the calendar timing. We may get the appearance of it in season 5, but we will hear about it in 2026, one way or the other. That's my Christmas wish. Those are my 5 predictions. Thank you. Have fun. Discuss.
So that's why I said when you mentioned it, I said, it's interesting you mentioned that. So yeah, Chuck thinks the same thing, that we're going to see that crossover.
RoboChuck is so much more emotive than the regular Chuck.
Oh, they love the RoboChuck. Okay. Let me go. So
Go ahead.
Yeah, so we've kind of talked through how we feel about the Doctor Who thing, and we will see. We will see.
I think
All right.
I think it could be fun, and I'd love to see it.
Oh, absolutely. I think it would be a blast. All right. My prediction number 5 is a bit vague, but I think we can quantify it at the end of the year. Is Star Trek Day for 2026 will be much more elaborate than the past few years. It's the 60th anniversary. We're obviously not going to have the movie for the 60th anniversary. We're not going to have a new series announcement for the 60th anniversary. I think they've got to do something to fill a lot of this void, and it gives enough lead time to everyone there to say, look, that's in September, the beginning of September. We can do X, Y, and Z and get something out there that's bigger than just, an online panel discussing something,
The last 2 Star Trek days were lame.
Right. So I think that, we
Like,
get the premiere of
up in a frenzy, and it's like, come on.
Yeah, we got the premiere of Star Trek Scouts, and we got the first. Well, we did get the first episode of Star Trek Con also on Star Trek Day, but I just don't think that was enough. So I'm hoping again. A lot of this is wish fulfillment, but I just feel like they must realize that they've got to do better than that if they're going to have this thing be a thing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. And one of the things they're not being very good at these days is keeping their vendors, but that's another story altogether. All right.
All right.
What's your number 5?
Okay. I forgot what I predicted last year.
Okay.
So number 5 is, I think Otoy will partner with Paramount on a bigger Star Trek story, which is almost verbatim what I had from last year. I still think that's the case, though. I think something's coming.
Okay. All right. I hope you're
So
right, because
I changed the wording here. I said, I still think Oh Toys. So there you go.
because I'd hate to have you have a strike on the same thing 2 years in a row, but anyway.
I totally forgot I even put that on there last year. And when you read it, when we were looking at our past ones, I went, "Oh, that's almost verbatim what I just wrote."
Matter of fact, I think this is my writing from last year, is actually.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, I have
I do have
one
a bonus
more.
number 6.
Yeah, I have one more, a sixth one.
Go for it.
And that is that, and by the way, that was, Chuck obviously did the 5. It's Alex Kurtzman's contract will not be renewed, but a new permanent head of Star Trek production will not immediately be named. It's not like they won't have one, because you need to have somebody at the helm. But if they announce somebody, it's like interim type of thing. But
Right.
Kurtzman's contract is, coming up to be renegotiated or not. And I just have a feeling, again, because it's new leadership, turnover, fresh start, I just have this feeling that his contract won't
Well,
be renewed.
He has been here for a while.
Oh, yeah.
Not that that's a terrible thing, but maybe it would be time for a little fresh blood.
Well, when you think about it, I mean, Gene was up to a certain point, and then it was Rick Berman after that point. So it's not unprecedented to mid run of Trek to
Mhm.
have it changed. Now, Gene obviously passed away, but still, it can be done. You can switch it up and continue on doing what you're doing and get new stuff out developed and get it out the door.
Yep.
All right. Did you have a 6th one as well, Craig?
Yeah, my bonus is we will make it to Star Trek 61.
Okay. Well, did you want to quantify that any more than just
We'll just make it through the year and make it to Star Trek 61. Hey,
okay?
there you go.
And will Bill be with us when that happens?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'll put, here you go, with Bill Shatner. Yeah, how about that?
All right. There we go. The line must be drawn here. Okay. So those are our
Right.
predictions for 2026. Given our track, I mean, there are years when we do well. If this is your first time watching, we've done pretty good some years. This year happened to be one of those years. A lot of it had to do with the fact that Paramount was in such a mess. We weren't getting word out of them about stuff. We were very confused about what their plans were. They were very confused about what their plans were. Everything was up in the
Even
air.
right after Discovery came out, that second year, we were getting a bunch of announcements. Everything looked great, and then everything kind of fell off a cliff. And for the last 3 or 4 years, it's been kind of not sure. Yeah.
So we will see. We'll know in 365 days how we did on these. And a lot of these are things that we really hope happen. Not every single one of them.
Except for the Bill Shatner thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say not that one.
Yeah.
And so while it's wish fulfillment, we're also projecting what we think fans want, right? What we would want, what we would like to see, which is why we keep coming back to some of the same concepts about things getting greenlit and approved and out there. And they need to do some of that stuff, please. All right.
Hey, by the way, one last message. Joe says that it'll be the wrong doctor that shows up.
Oh, Robert Picardo, you're trying to be on more things than Jonathan Frakes and
Yeah.
Michael Dorn and Leonard Nimoy. Okay.
That'd be funny if Robert Picardo showed up on Doctor Who.
Yes. As the new doctor.
Yeah.
He regenerates and it's like, oh, wait a minute. What?
Yeah. That's right.
Got a bit confused. Sorry. You got to be more specific on your doctors. All right. That about wraps it up. So we will, like I said, we'll see in a year how we did. But our next episode is going to be on it's the 15th, right? That sorry, I'm I got something beeping over here.
Oh, it's already time for the next show.
Yeah,
Got an alarm going on.
the 15th of January, I believe, is the premiere date for Starfleet Academy. So we will be recording that night, reviewing the first 2 episodes of Starfleet Academy because they want to really burn through those episodes for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah.
All
Get you
right.
hooked.
And you can find me, Clinton, at Comedy Forecast, all one word with the number 4. And I have an episode ready to go out to patrons probably tomorrow. And so other people will get that at the beginning of the week. And then I've got the next episode, which the patrons have seen, have heard the longer version of, and everybody else is going to get kind of a little Reader's Digest version of the same episode. So you'll have to listen to find out what that's all about too.
All right.
Who speaks for you guys? I wonder. I don't have, Robot Chuck to do it. So
Robot Chuck. Come on.
yeah, I should have prepared that ahead of time, but
That would have been funny. All right. So you can find Chuck and myself at Technorama Podcast. Just search for Technorama Podcast in Google or YouTube or any of those places like that. Or you can go to chuckchat.com and find our show. And I actually posted this week, I posted a couple of older episodes. Gil Gerard passed away. So I reposted one of our interviews with him. Chuck and I did a short-lived podcast called Interface to Face. And Gil Gerard was one of our interviews. I went and just put that in there, and I reposted the Geek Christmas story, where I was trying to get my Commodore 64, or Maddie Stevens was trying to get his Commodore 64 from his parents for Christmas. So
speaking of which, did you see that Tom Merritt ordered and got himself one of the new Commodore 64s?
I've seen a lot of people getting them, and I ordered one, and I'm still waiting.
I didn't realize they were doing another round of that because somebody did operate under the Commodore name for several years, and they produced a Commodore 64. And I'm guessing this is a different group, but I don't know.
This is a different guy. He does retro recipes. Retro recipes is his YouTube channel, and he ended up just making a pitch and buying Commodore. He got some investors and able to buy him. Commodore was putting out these weird, products with the Commodore logos slapped on it, and he went through him and others, a lot of original founders from Commodore went through the trouble to basically rebuild the Commodore 64 with the factory and everything. It's got some upgrades to it, but it's essentially the same thing, as it did, as it was when it came out. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. I want to see what people's feelings are about it. Cause that was my first computer as well. So
was it? All right.
Yep. I'd be very interested in that.
So when you listen to the Geek Christmas story, yes, there's a lot of crossover. I mean, there's a lot of the elements from a Christmas Story movie in there, but underlying all of that is a lot of my own experiences and feelings when I was trying to get my own. So it kind of fit together pretty well. I listened to it again the other day. I love that thing. Everybody helped out with voices. You were in there, I think, especially the Island of Misfit Geeks one. That was fun to do. You were the mailman.
Mailman.
Yeah, you were telling me. Remember the kids were throwing snowballs at you?
How long ago was that, Craig? Do you think I'm going to remember? Go ahead. Tell me how many years ago that was.
Well, I don't remember the predictions I did last year, so which is bad enough.
All right. As we walk down memory lane, it's time to hit the theme, boys. If you like the show, please be sure to tell a friend about it. And subscribe so you never miss an episode. We'd love to hear from you. Follow us on Blue Sky at The Topic is Trek. Visit our Facebook page or call us at 816-TREKKER. That's 816-873-5537. Until next time, on behalf of Robot Chuck, Craig, and myself, I'm Clinton, thanking you for listening. And as we always say here on The Topic is Trek, don't put on the red
Sure.
Maybe 2027 will get it. And we are out.
All right. Done recording.
All right.
All right.
That's an interesting thing that Crazy Joe. I know that they were in Pennsylvania. That thing Crazy Joe said the original Commodore 64 were invented in an abandoned office building next to the building I work in. I mean, it wasn't abandoned at the time, but yeah, well, it's gonna say.
Yeah, I do remember. I do remember that's one of the areas they were assembling them. So a long time ago, or not a long time ago. Well, it's kind of a long time ago now. One of my old friends passed away, and I ended up with his Commodore 64, and it's an original, from like 82, 83. I wanted to see what year it was actually from, so I started looking for the serial number to see if there was anything online. And so when I looked it up, I did come across an article. They were saying that the serial numbers are not very reliable from Commodore because they had several offices or little factories pumping them out around the world, and there wasn't a lot of collaboration on the serial numbers. So it's hard to tell, but it doesn't matter. I can look at it and tell you that I can see that my friend Mark plugged in the video cable a million times because the little DIN plug is like loose.
Yeah,
it's really loose, but yeah, it's seen some action.
right.
So I'm looking forward to my new one. Yeah.
We're gonna end the stream here. Thank you for watching, and we appreciate your input. Thanks to Crazy Joe for and for Sarah Rose for being here as well. And we will catch you in January 2026 with Starfleet Academy.
There you go. Live long and prosper.